There is a grief we feel when we are called to let go, release the old self. When the old patterns, the old habitual self that has been, in effect, who we were, has run its course. This is the moment that we talk about. The letting go of the old, the letting go of who we were and how we were. This is a very difficult experience for most people. For people who've, obviously, we become identified with the actor that we are, or the pattern that we've been playing out, with all of its nuances, even though it may have caused a certain pain or suffering. We became that way. We became that way for good reason. You know, we built a structured self, whether this type of self or that type of self, successful, failure, victim, aggressor, survivor. Most of us, in a way, growing through the wounds of childhood, as if a survivor in many ways, developing strategies, developing a persona that we wear because we are called and demanded to fit in. Fitting in. This great fitting in that we is demanded of us unconsciously, and even sometimes consciously, you know, through the conditioning of the parental unit, through the conditioning of school and education and religion. You know, you've got to do what everybody else does. You've got to follow the herd. You've got to fit in with the zeitgeist. You know, you can't be seen too much as an outsider, and this can create terrible trouble, because if we are outsiders, so many sensitive ones, the mysterious ones, the ones who don't quite conform, the ones who don't fit in. There's a whole myriad a number of ways of manifesting in this human realm. And yet the perennial nature of society is that we are squeezed into little boxes of behavior and certain codes and morals and ethics that we have to live by. Some of that is appropriate because we do have to find ways of relating with other people and living in the grand society, collective, community. But we can see that some of it is dysfunctional. Look at it out there. You know, because what generally seems to happen is that we put on the cloak and the mask. The cloak that shields us from our true pain, the suppression of our life force, feeling, emotion, or, primal wounds. So we wear a cloak to kind of keep that stuff in, and then we put on the mask. And the mask is how we meet ourselves and meet the world. And it becomes who we are, and we get stuck to it. We get stuck to it. And then, we live out our life. This is a kind of karmic movement. It's fate, in a sense. It's the inevitable. It's an inevitable kind of rolling out. When those sorts of things happen, then it's logical that one is going to adopt the personality, the persona, the mask, the cloak, and be, identified with it. This is who I am. But upon closer inspection, or, some crisis that brings, that starts to reveal holes in the mask and holes in the cloak, and then the journey really starts, and this journey is happening for more and more people. The journey of uncloaking, of unmasking, because it's seen as being false. It's not the truth of who we are. And you don't even have to say on some, really extreme, radical, non-dual level. All you have to do is see the truth of the fact that we've been wearing a mask and a cloak, that's hidden certain aspects of our true nature, our true feeling nature, never mind our true nature as consciousness, that of course, but even how we truly feel, our inability to meet life transparently, authentically, the domination of the reactive self, how that's come into play, how we're like Pavlovian in a certain way. If a certain trigger comes in, we react in a way that even we don't really understand. This is suffering. And so the holes in the cloak and in the mask start to reveal themselves, and we pay attention to that and look into that through therapy, spiritual inquiry, deconstructing, letting go, catharsis, all of these, many, many different modalities that bring us deeper and deeper and deeper to see who we were is not really who we are. Who we were is not really who we are. And that, brings trouble. It brings the doorway to freedom, but it also comes with a certain amount of trouble. And that trouble is, what the hell are we going to do? Who the hell are we going to be? Who am I if I'm not that? If who I was is not who I am, then who am I? And what do I do about who I was? Because it's still going, and it's certainly going in the life that you lived in relationship to the world. And that world being either a significant other, children, partner, and definitely family and community and friends, because everybody's gotten used to who you were. We like to put each other in boxes. We like to say, I know that person does this, 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 and this, and they have this opinion about things, and that's fixed. And I expect that behavior from them whenever I meet them. And if they're not exhibiting that behavior and they're saying something different, then something's not right. Something's going wrong with them. Either they're, losing something or changing or becoming strange, or, I'm not comfortable with it. Because we rely on each other for our sense of stability, because we're in collusion. Society, family, definitely, is a great collusion. We collude with each other in order to feel safe. We comply. It's demanded of us that we, unconsciously comply. And so when you get onto the spiritual path and you realize, going back to what I was saying, you realize that who you were is not who you are, and you don't even know who you are, but you know that you have to let go. of who you were and those old patterns, well then there are consequences, and it's the consequences that cause a problem. And that's where the grief, that's where the death can happen, because something is dying in order for something to be reborn. The old has to die in order for the new to be reborn. That's difficult for the very reason that I just said. It's very difficult. It doesn't have to be as extreme as as it sounds, but neither does it have to be some, wishy-washy, diluted down, because it does call us. It does call us to rise into ourselves with a certain transparency and say, no, who I was is not who I am. We have the right to transform. We have the right to change. You have the right to change your mind. You have the right to change how you are in the world. You have the right to be whoever it is that you want to be. When that's true, when that's honest, when that's real, when it's going deeper within, it's always offered in a loving way, in a clear way, in a kind way, but also in a conscious way, because you're coming out of the game playing, the collusion with others and with the way that we were is all a game playing, role playing in effect. And this is what's coming to an end, and this is what hurts. So what I'm speaking to is, yes, it's going to hurt, but yes, the choice is there to be made. To see that who you were is not who you are, and that's okay, and there has to be some kind of release of the old in order for the new to arise. That's the sort of transition. It can be fast, it can be slow, it doesn't really matter, and it can't be rushed, and it shouldn't be met with impatience. It's a natural part of the healing journey, if you like. The healing stroke awakening journey is the release of who we were, and that cloak and mask and the dreamlike state of, certain strategic aspects of how we survived the world. And that now I'm ready to rise into a different way of relating, a different way of being. When the mask comes off, only the truth remains. When the cloak falls, only the nakedness of being remains. And of course that's raw, and of course that's sensitive. We give sensitivity a bad rap, but sensitivity is actually our nature. And when we don't fight with it, it becomes a gift. When we fight with it, it remains a curse. All of these things, all of these aspects. So, I don't know. I hope this has spoken to you a little bit. I'll speak more of this in a little while, in the future sometime. So take care. Thank you for watching.